I'm your host, B, and this is the Healer's Honey podcast.
Welcome back to the Healer's Honey podcast. I'm B, and this is episode 7. Today, I wanted to talk more about building self-confidence and how that can help you step into your highest self and start living your dream life. Self-confidence is something I struggled a lot with because from a really young age, I was bullied and just kind of outcast and like the weird kid because I was kind of a weird kid. And that's fine. Looking back at it, I'm so glad that I am who I am and I was who I was because I needed to be this person to be who I am right now. I needed those experiences and I needed to be the person to shake things up and catch people's attention, even if it was in a negative way, because it created change. But living most of my life feeling like the weird kid, you kind of get these insecurities. You feel insecure, which makes you unsure of yourself, and you kind of just want to like fit in, but you don't know how, and everything you do makes you seem weirder, not cooler, and so you just become really like anxious about every little decision that you make, every action, every mannerism, everything you say, and so you don't feel like you trust yourself. And trusting yourself, building self-trust is a huge foundational piece of having self-confidence. I am only recently learning to truly trust myself. I have made so many bad decisions in my life, partially because I was trying to please other people and be who they wanted me to be, and also partially because I was very fearful of conflict and other people's opinions, and a lot of my actions have really been based out of fear. And I have noticed over the course of my life that type of decision making only puts you deeper and deeper into a negative space. I was unhappy. I was unhealthy. Honestly, my mental health was so bad, I did not want to exist. I did not. And I was trying to find ways out. And once I started living more for myself, I just felt so much weight lifted off, and I don't have so much like stress and pressure on myself. I mean, I do in certain ways because I want a lot of really amazing things in life, and so I have to work hard and try and do all these things to get to them, but also I don't have external pressures. I don't care so much what other people think and say about me because I know myself, I accept myself, I love myself, and I trust myself. And I think one of my big things, aside from just being kind of weird and awkward and trying to fit in with my peers, I also made really bad decisions in relationships. This is kind of funny, kind of not. In Los Angeles, somewhere off of like, what is that, Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset or whatever that strip is with all the stars and stuff. I don't even know, but I went there and I was like 19. I was in this horrible relationship, first off. Second off, my friends knew my relationship patterns so well that there was a museum of broken relationships, right? And this doesn't even necessarily mean like in love. It just means like broken relationships. There was a whole museum. There were all these like cool art installments and stuff that talked about different broken relationships. I took a picture. I still have it somewhere, and I'm standing in front of this sign that says the Museum of Broken Relationships because we all knew that that was my life. Okay? I chose terrible partners, and I would stay with them for way too long, And we would go back and forth and back and forth. And then if I wasn't in some shitty relationship, I would sabotage the good ones, partially because I didn't think I deserved it, partially because they felt boring. I was just always seeking more. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be with the amazing partner that I have today. But not being able to trust myself to pick not only partners, because my partner choices were not that great in most cases, I also picked really horrible friendships. And I would stay in these friendships for a long time because I was so eccentric. I would find these other kind of eccentric, weirdos, and we would have so much fun together, but they also had some really toxic traits. And so I felt really like belittled or abused or manipulated. And so I would feed into this. I would react to this. I would sometimes even mimic these behaviors just to keep that relationship. I would let things happen that shouldn't have happened. And I really could not trust myself to make decisions and to set boundaries and to let go of people who weren't good for me. I couldn't keep myself safe. And so that taught me I am not a trustworthy person to myself or to anybody else. That shot my confidence down so far. I had none. And on top of that, not just relationships, that for me is where a lot of my self-trust comes in, where it was not good, is for relationships. But even so, in school, I did not care about school because I was so focused on relationships and trying to not be the weird kid and trying to be the cool kid and making friends and whatever. I was so social and I wanted so badly to find my people and to be accepted. I did not care about school. And I am a very intelligent person. Now that I'm in college, I don't have any grade below a B. I really don't struggle in college, and I know a lot of people do. And I have to say, though, it's community college, and community college is not like going to a university. It's really one step above high school. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to say simple because I have struggled in some of my classes, but it's not super crazy difficult. Really, as long as you're turning in assignments, you're probably going to pass. So just turn in your assignments and don't be late. But I did not care about school most of my time growing up. It wasn't until I was about 17-ish, 16, 17, and I got put in like this continuation charter school thing. That's when I started caring a lot about my grades, and I was doing a lot of the work and whatever. And I was going to be a little bit late in my graduation, maybe by like a semester. I had some more credits I had to catch up on, and my teachers were trying to work with me. But the school was turning into a school where you had to be on probation to continue attending. I was turning 18. I did not want to put myself on voluntary probation because I wasn't sure if that would affect my like records. I didn't want to be like going to an employer and they were like, yeah, why were you on probation in 2015? Oh, because I needed it to continue high school because I went to this delinquent ass high school where everybody had to be on probation. Like, that's super lame. So I quit school. Multiple times I tried to go to adult ed, but I was in so many toxic relationships that my priority was not focused in my schooling, and I could never do that. So there were so many areas of my life where I was not putting forth enough effort. I was not prioritizing myself. I was not making good decisions. And that really just shot me so far down that I did not think there was any coming back from it. I literally applied for disability like a year ago because I genuinely believed I was so broken. I was just going to have to live like that for probably several years to the rest of my life, depending on how things went and if I could even manage any type of healing. It is so crazy to me that that was last year, because how far I've come in just 1 year is freaking incredible. And I'm so glad. It sounds so weird to say, but I am so glad that I went through everything that I went through, because I have so many tools now, not only for myself, but I get to share them with you. ever since I was young, I knew I was supposed to be some kind of public figure, and that terrifies me. Being in all of the situations I've been in with people and having groups of people point and laugh at me, like literally terrifying. Yet I would still sit in the mirror from a really young age and pretend like I'm being interviewed and like having this feeling of like I'm fucking famous. Like I just knew I was supposed to be some type of public figure or a leader of some kind. I was supposed to talk to people. I had knowledge and wisdom and something to look up to. Like I've always felt that. But for a long time I was like, there's no way. It was just like this fantasy. And now that I am where I'm at, I look back at all of those moments in my life and I'm like, yeah, okay, it was just part of the path. It was just the things that were supposed to happen to give me the tools and the knowledge and the strength to be able to stand in front of people, share my truth, and give them the tools that I have also acquired. Like this semester, I've taken most of my classes online, but this semester I'm actually going to take a in-person class, and it's public speaking. And I was like, if I can take public speaking, the scariest freaking class, then all my other classes are going to be super easy, right? Like if I can get up and do these presentations and talk in front of people, everything else is going to be easy. I also, last month, did I graduate last month? I think it was last month that I graduated high school. I got my high set. I gave a speech. I did that. I gave a speech in front of like, probably like maybe 200 people. Maybe a little less than that. I don't know. It was a lot of people. It was an entire high school auditorium like filled with people. And I don't know exactly what came over me. Like I do and I don't. Part of me was like, yeah, I want the challenge. And part of me was like, no, you don't, bitch. Like, don't do this. But there was something deep inside me that was like, no, you have to do this. When my principal at our pre-graduation meeting, she was like, does anybody want to give a speech about, your experiences and blah, blah, blah. At first I didn't raise my hand and she was like, are you sure? Is there anybody else? And then my little hand went way up and I was like, I guess I'm speaking. And I was so scared. But I gave this awesome speech. And after the ceremony, I had so many people come up to me and compliment me on that speech and tell me that it was really impactful to them. And that was such a like catalyst for me too. I was like, yeah, I have to take that public speaking class because this is what I'm meant to do. Also, it is literally on my bucket list to give a TED Talk. Like, I do not give a fuck. I'm going to give a TED Talk someday. I don't know about what, but I'm going to do it. And I know that I want to be a leader. I know that I have leadership inside of me. I just haven't had a lot of opportunities to utilize it. And the opportunities that I have been given, I was not ready for them. I was not ready. But now that I am who I am and I am where I'm at, I feel very comfortable, confident, and excited to become a leader. I think that I still have a lot to learn, and there is always more you can do to become better and practice and whatever, but I feel very just ready to like live my life's purpose. And a lot of that came... A lot of people are not going to love what I'm about to say, which is fine. Everybody's on their own path. If you can smoke weed and drink and do whatever you're going to do and still be confident, be capable, and have your shit together and take care of your life and whatever, good for you. Congratulations, you have something that not a lot of people have, which is moderation, self-control, discipline, etc. Like, good on you if you can do that stuff and have a good time with those things and still have a very solid foundation and good mindset and keep your life together and you're happy and whatever. Like, that is awesome. If you utilize cannabis for medication, that's kind of a different story, because there are so many pharmaceuticals that aren't as safe as cannabis, and so it is completely understandable to use that instead. If I had options and one of them was pills or cannabis, I'm probably going to choose the cannabis, straight up. But after smoking for 15 years on an almost daily basis, in the beginning it wasn't daily because I was a freaking teenager and I was, smoking on the weekends with my friends and trying to save up my lunch money to get like one little piece and, whatever. But as I got older and became an adult and I was allowed to smoke in my own house and whatever, I was smoking from sun up to sundown. It got to the point where I was like, oh, hey, we need to go to the grocery store. Okay, but let's smoke first. Smokes. Okay, now we're going to get ready. Oh, let me hit the bong 3 times while I'm getting ready. Okay, I'm about ready. Let me get my stuff together and then let's smoke one more time. Getting ready to head out the door. Ooh, I'm going to hit that one more time and then I'm ready to go. Like, it was so insane. And in the beginning, it was recreational. And then I was like, oh, but I'm smoking for my anxiety. But I'm smoking because I have stomach issues. I have insomnia. I have chronic pain. I have all of these different things. So I'm just going to smoke hella weed about it. Then I had a bad experience. That's kind of another story, but I accidentally did some DMT. That made me feel weird. I didn't do a lot of it. I didn't like blast off or anything. Everything just turned amber. I could see all these patterns. Honestly, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. But my heart was beating so fast. And I kind of thought I might die. Then, after that, a couple days, maybe a week later, I was having a lot of anxiety, extra depression, and I was like, I don't like this. So I figured I'm going to turn to mushrooms. Mushrooms have always been a wonderful thing for me. I like psychedelics because they've always given me insight to deeper things. So I was like, I'm just going to turn to the mushroom. I took the tiniest, literally it was like this big, this little tiny piece of mushroom. And it probably wasn't a legit microdose because I didn't weigh it out or anything. I just took like the tiniest piece that I've ever taken in my entire life. And I took that and I went straight back into those feelings of I am slipping out of reality. I am disconnected from everything and everyone around me. My body is shutting down. Like my heart was beating so heavy and so fast and I was so sick. I couldn't breathe. Even just talking about it, I like feel it again and I'm like, okay, you're not there. Like, I know it was like such a psychological thing more than a physical thing, but it was scary. It was so terrifying. And to be kind of rejected by these medicines that I have loved for so long, and I had never done DMT before, and when I did it on accident, I thought it was a vape pen, like a weed vape, and I hit it and I realized immediately that's not what it was. And that's how I ended up accidentally doing DMT, and had never done it before. But the mushrooms, those were my friends. Definitely friendly. Up until that point. So when I did them and they rejected me so heavy, I was like, what the hell is going on? And then after that, every time I tried to smoke weed, I would go back into that state of deep panic. I thought I was having a heart attack. I actually ended up going to the hospital multiple times just within a few weeks after that mushroom trip because I literally thought that I was having a heart attack and going to die. So I had to quit smoking. I had to quit smoking. I have taken a couple little hits of a joint or whatever, maybe like 3 times since I quit. I tried to smoke about 6 months ago, had a horrible time. I did not like it. I was so high. I remembered all of the reasons why I quit smoking. I was like, this is not fun for me anymore. The only other times I've, smoked a little bit was when I was drinking. And then recently, after drinking more and more, just with family and with friends, and I don't sit at my house by myself a lot and like drink or whatever. I do when I'm in like a phase for sure. Like if I'm in like a depression or I'm going through something, yeah, I'm going to sit at home by myself and I'm going to drink and have like a good time. But I was drinking with other people and I just kind of started to feel like weird. Like I was more depressed, I was more anxious, I was wanting to do it more and more, and I was getting red flags. And it just was not feeling aligned. And I knew Like when I quit smoking weed, I quit coffee, I quit drinking, I quit nicotine, I quit all this stuff. And then all of a sudden certain things were slowly creeping back into my life. And so it was like a week ago, I think I completely was like, okay, I'm done with every mind altering substance, even nicotine. Like I'm done, 100% done. Going back to when I had that trip and I'm just sober gopher. And even though I was drinking a little bit here and there and whatever, once I quit smoking weed and doing like because weed is classified as a psychedelic, and you might not think that or agree with that either, because it doesn't really impair you, and like you don't see things a lot of the time. Like it technically is a psychedelic, and there's research and whatever to back that up, and you just got to go look into that. But once I quit the psychedelics and the nicotine and the coffee and like the stimulants kind of thing, I felt incredible. And at that point too, I wasn't drinking. So for about 6 months last year, I wasn't doing anything. I was completely sober. That is when I got relief from all of my physical health issues. I was not having chronic pain because I was getting more active. I was getting out of the house more because I didn't have as much anxiety. So I was willing to go out and do more things and be in public. I was sleeping better. I was getting deeper sleep. Like, there are so many things I was smoking for. Pretty much all of them went away. I used to have horrible chronic nausea and like vomiting issues. And I was like, oh, it's just stress. This is just stress. Doctors would tell me, you smoke too much weed, it's making your stomach upset. I was like, no, I smoke weed because it makes my stomach feel better. Little did I know, there's actually a cannabis sickness that you can get, that if you're smoking a lot or whatever, it can actually make your stomach like upset. I almost never barf anymore. I don't barf, I don't get nauseous, I don't experience those things anymore. And I really attribute all of that to being sober. Like, so many opportunities happened for me once I quit substances and made me healthy. I started gaining weight. I don't really have like an eating disorder anymore. A lot of my problems have been fixed. I still struggle a little bit with like insomnia, only on days that I work or days that I have something going on. So that's like a stress related thing for sure. But other than that, like I really don't have any issues. Like I don't. And I'm not saying that it's 100% on that, because on top of being sober, I have done a lot of things and practiced a lot of things that allowed me to grow and to become stronger. But I will say getting sober was a huge, huge catalyst in me being this person sitting here talking to you right now, having so much confidence, knowing who I am and where I'm going. Because I always had these feelings, but I was always so scared and so anxious and so stoned that I was never going to actually step outside of myself and follow that. I was going to sit at home with the comfort of my bong, you know? Like, so if you are a chronic substance user and you are having any kind of mental health or even physical health issues, I highly recommend taking at least a 3-month break and seeing how you feel. And especially like, even if you're using cannabis for certain, like me, like I said, I was using it for anxiety, and I was using it because my stomach hurt, and I was using it for insomnia, and I had all these medical reasons that I was like, oh, I can't function without it. That turned out that's a big part of what was causing it. So even though I was using it medicinally, once I quit, all of those problems literally went away. So I just recommend that if you haven't tried being sober, try it, because it might just be the thing that changes your life for the better. And like I said, everybody's path is different. If you can handle your shit and you can enjoy your substances and whatever, that's great. If you struggle with addiction, I highly recommend getting help, because addiction runs in my family. And I got lucky that these medicines and these plants and these whatever, they rejected me. They said, you're done. And I had been talking for years about wanting to get sober, but it was never something I was going to do on my own. I was so dependent on these things, I was never going to do this by myself. So they had to reject me. And as much as I miss certain things and I think about, oh, maybe in the future I'll do this and whatever, and, you know, I wanted to try ayahuasca and all these things, I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad that they rejected me, because now I'm not going to do anything like that in vain. It's not going to be for nothing. I know now that I can learn to be sober and learn the lessons that I need to right here, right now, in this reality, in this mindset of sobriety. And then maybe later in life, different plant medicines might call to me and I might be able to utilize them in a healthy way with respect for them, and not just because I'm trying to be trippy, hippie, and all up in my, you know, enlightened shit and using all these substances and whatever. So my path just got a lot more serious. And I am grateful for that. As shitty as all of it was to go through, and as much as I definitely miss, you know, tripping and whatever else, and my bong rips, like I miss it. There's part of me that does miss it. I know that this is my path and this is so much better for me, and I am grateful to the medicines for rejecting me. So grateful. And not everybody has that opportunity where the medicines are going to reject them. And even if they do, even if you get sick and you have a bad experience, you might not have the strength or the fear of not going back. Because for me, I'm too scared to go back because I don't want to ruin what I have going right now. And I don't want to experience those feelings that I felt again. I don't. So I'm good, personally. But not everybody has that. And so if you don't have a situation like that where you can just quit and be done and, you know, whatever, I highly recommend getting involved in a support group, a program, something, and just beta test sobriety. Just give it a little trial, okay? I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm not saying it's the right path. I'm not saying it's the one and only way to enlightenment or whatever the fuck. I'm just saying that for me, it was an entirely huge, major, foundational part of me being this me right now. And it did not even take that long for me to see massive improvements in all areas of my life. And me struggling with my substance use, even in the last year, as far as like alcohol and nicotine goes, part of my self-discipline, part of my learning to make decisions that are good for me is being sober. It's teaching me self-discipline. It's teaching me to prioritize my health and my body and my mind over having fun. And even you can have fun without substances. You can work on things without substances. Like, I'm so weak, and there are certain things that I feel like I enjoy them a lot and whatever, but I know now that my sobriety is just so important to me, and learning to be my authentic self and to have a good time and to not feel judgment sober is so much more important to me than drinking some really good beer or whatever. And that's my path. It's not everybody's path, but it is my path. And seriously, I just can't recommend enough to try it if you're struggling with that now. And if you have any of the issues that I have mentioned, anxiety, depression. I mean, I had a lot of PTSD. My trauma doesn't affect me nearly as much because I'm not sitting in this part of my mind repeatedly like where it is anymore, because I'm sober and I'm actively doing other things and my brain is changing and whatever. So that would really be my step one if I were to go back. I have so many different tools, but that was the thing for me that changed it. I was doing meditations. I was journaling. I was doing yoga. I was doing a bunch of different things that should have been helping, and they were helping a little bit. But once I got sober, that was what really changed the game for me. And I know I've given this super long spiel about my sobriety, and I really did not intend to do that, but that is just what is happening, and somebody probably needs to hear that. And it sucks, and it's lame, and whatever. But sometimes that's the thing that's going to do it for you. That's what did it for me. And my life is dope now. So take it or leave it, whatever. But that would be my step one. Try and get sober, at least temporarily, and see what kind of difference it makes. Because making those types of decisions where you're focusing on your body and you're cherishing feeling alive and here and now in the present moment, and you're making more decisions, you're more clear-headed, and you can make better decisions for yourself, that's going to build your self-trust. That's going to build your self-confidence. That is a decision that you can make for yourself and see if, if it is beneficial for you. You are going to feel so good about yourself. You're going to be so proud. And you're going to say, man, if I can do this, I can do so much more. And so, like the other thing for me, like especially when I'm going through like a phase and a depression or whatever, I struggle with like personal hygiene. Like I don't want to take showers. I don't want to brush my teeth. So for me, like I have a morning ritual. I wake up, I brush my teeth. I, do little things. I anoint myself with special oils that I have, and I say little affirmations, and I really just get in kind of a good vibe for the day. And that is also another decision I make to take care of myself and put myself in a good mindset that helps me build trust with myself and say, oh, I can check in with myself on a regular basis. I can communicate with myself. I can trust myself with that communication and with those taking care of my physical body. Again, building trust. The other things, aside from like little habits you can do, the other really big thing is if you are a very emotional person, or even if you're emotionally avoidant, take time, whether you're making a voice note or journaling or whatever, to sit and reflect. Reflection is so important. You have to be raw and real, and you could call this shadow work, but you have to look your demons in the face. If you know that you're a chronic liar, you have to look at that and say, yes, I lied about this and about this and about this. This is what happened. This is how I feel about it. How do I want to change that? Do I even want to change that? Maybe lying is beneficial to me and I'm going to keep doing it, and that is your business. Or, man, lying has gotten me in some serious situations and I really don't like how it's affecting my life. How can I work on being more present with myself in moments where I feel like that? Why do I feel triggered? And why do I feel like lying is my only option? Why is that my first resort in a situation? And address those feelings, address those problems, work with yourself and try and come up with the why and how to fix it. And don't be mean to yourself. Don't say, oh, I'm so shitty because I do this and this and this. Yes, it wasn't great, maybe. But also acknowledge you haven't had the skills. We're not taught this stuff in school. Most of our parents do not teach us how to sit with ourselves and truly emotionally regulate, and how to reflect on our problems and be better. We really lack those skills in our society. So don't feel too guilty when you fuck up. The important part is that you are being aware of it and you want to do something to change it. That alone is like that's so huge and so important. So important. The fact that you have a desire to be better basically means that eventually you're going to take steps and you're probably going to get better. It's not going to be perfect. It is a lifelong, forever road that you are going to go on, constantly changing and improving and witnessing yourself and how you respond to things, decisions that you make. But once you take the time and you start learning why you do the things you do, what in your past has created these patterns and these habits, and then creating a plan to come up and change them, and not just creating the plan, and it takes time to follow through with these actions. But once you start following through and you practice, then you'll get in a situation and you'll respond differently. And you won't notice in that moment, probably, but later on you'll look back and you go, oh my God, I didn't do what I would have done when I was the old me. I did this. And that is so much different. And I'm so proud of myself for not falling back on my old habits. I actually used the tools. I didn't even know that I used those tools, but I did. And you'll be so proud of yourself. And even those kinds of things will help build your self-confidence, because you'll feel like even your subconscious at that point, you're learning how to be the person that you want to be. And so when you naturally just react in that way of how you want to be instead of how you used to be, you just feel so good about yourself. And again, it's one of those things, like the more that you do to prove to yourself that you're capable and that you're trustworthy, you just become more confident, and then you do even more shit. Like, I can't even begin to tell you all the things that I've done in the last year that are different from what I would have done, just because I'm learning to trust myself and I'm feeling more comfortable with myself. I've kept a job for like almost a year. That's crazy if we're thinking about it, because I haven't had a job since 2020, and before that I never had a job that lasted over a year. And that job in 2020 only lasted a couple months. So I am doing really good right now in work, in school, in all of these different areas. And it was one thing at a time, for sure. But like, it's all about the decisions that I've made that prove to me I can do it. And I can go out and get what I want and be who I want. And then I become more and more and more and more of who I want. And then I'll even challenge myself, because you can almost turn it into a game at a certain point. Once you start seeing progress and you're like, oh, I can do this, I can do this. That's what the public speaking is for me. That is a fucking game. And it's kind of fun, because there's so many situations where you think, oh, nobody would do this, or nobody's going to say that, or I would never do this. Let me see if I can. Let me do it anyway, just for the fuck of it, because I just want to see if I can do it. And then you try it. And a lot of times you're honestly probably not going to fail as hard as you would expect. Because during my speech, I gave it, I stuttered a little bit. I was so nervous. I didn't think that I did a good job, but everybody loved it. Everybody came up and hugged me and told me I was amazing. And like strangers, total strangers were like, your speech was so good. And I was not confident in it. I didn't, whatever. But I did it. And just in doing it and receiving the good feedback and whatever, like, that proved to me I am capable of doing things that I never would have thought I would be good at. Or I wouldn't have expected to be able to do, because I've just come so far, and it's so crazy. And one of the biggest parts about becoming your highest self and having skills and whatever to live your dream life, you have to trust yourself. And you have to get confidence to try new things. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the same place forever, and nobody wants that. So, again, I'll reiterate, if you're not a sober gopher, I'm not saying you have to, because like I said, everybody's different, and maybe you could be successful, and that's fine. But if you notice that you are partaking in substance use on a fairly regular basis, and you also have certain issues like anxiety or lack of confidence or depression or just this feeling of being stuck in your life, maybe take a little break and just see how it goes. That's all I'm saying. Work on reflection. Work on making decisions that are going to benefit you try really hard not to care what other people think, which is a hard one. But once you stop caring about other people's thoughts and opinions and you focus on how you feel about yourself, you're going to make those better decisions, and then you're going to just feel better. So try really hard to prioritize you over everything. Because it is so possible to live an amazing life. And amazing doesn't even have to be extravagant, you know, like I live in a little 1-bedroom apartment and I work like some regular ass job and I'm just, you know, a college student and whatever. I'm not doing anything super incredible or super amazing with my life, but where I am compared to where I was, that alone is amazing. And every little thing I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my apartment. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful to have the things that I never had before, to be getting an education, to be a high school graduate. Like, those things are so basic for so many people, but for me, those are the extraordinary things. And if I'm here now, I can only imagine where I'm going to go. And there's so much that I want and so much that I am hungry for that I will not stop trying to prioritize those things and make decisions that will get me closer to those things, even if it scares the shit out of me, even if it's hard, even if it's painful. You really have to choose courage over comfort. And it's scary. And I completely understand that. And it's not always overnight, big steps, you know, whatever. It's little tiny baby steps. It's little pep talks in the mirror. It's little words of affirmation before you go to sleep at night and when you wake up in the morning. It's writing down who you want to be and what you want to do. It's little things at first. And they will catalyze into such this massive tornado of life-changing awesomeness that you just won't be able to go back. So I know this was kind of a crazy... I feel like it was really intense for this little talk. Yeah, I'm just like, because that was like a lot to get out of me. But I think it's been some things that needed to get out of me. And I know other people probably need to hear them, even if they don't want to. And everybody can have their own opinion, and that's fine. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, you can take little pieces that you like and say fuck the rest. I don't care. This is just what I'm giving you because this is what I'm feeling needs to come out of me and into the world. So I wish everybody luck and grace and progress on their journeys. I hope that you can find the inspiration to prioritize yourself and work on your decision making and your self-discipline and really start creating your dream life if you haven't started already. I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful. I know it's just sitting in front of a camera giving like some YouTube podcast that doesn't even get like a lot of views right now, but I have the things to say and I'm sharing them, and I know that there are even just a small handful of people who really do appreciate this stuff, and it makes me so thrilled to be at a place in life where I can be so enthusiastic and so forward and blunt about sharing this stuff. Like, it's just, I really do feel like I'm stepping into my life's purpose, and this is just the beginning. And whether you're deep into your journey or you're also just starting with me, I hope that you'll stick around and we can build this community together and things are going to be dope. So thank you for watching the podcast episode. Like, subscribe to the channel if you want more. I am also on like Instagram, Facebook. I don't post a lot on TikTok, and usually what I post on TikTok is just like my YouTube, or not my YouTube, my Instagram reels. I put them on TikTok, you know, but I'm working on offering more than just the podcast. I'm working on a workshop. I actually have an in-person workshop that I'm doing locally That information is on my Healer's Honey Instagram. I've got, I'm working on like online digital download kind of workbooks. Eventually, I want a physical hard copy, both workbook and just a book. I've always wanted to write a book, so this is another one of those. I'm going to do a TED Talk. Like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to do workbooks. I already offer one-on-one sessions through like Zoom or even in person if you're local, for life coaching. I do energy healing. I'm working on finding the right coach and saving up the money because I do want to get like an actual Reiki certification. I think that would be great. But right now I'm just doing intuitive energy healing. I've been doing it for a really long time. And I actually had a Reiki healing, and everything that they were doing, I noticed was stuff that I have been doing on my friends for years. So this stuff comes very naturally to me. It's just who I am. It's part of me and the gifts that I have to offer people. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, I'll put some like how to contact me information somewhere. I highly recommend Instagram though. That's one of the best ways to get a hold of me, or my email, which is healershoney.b@gmail.com. On top of that, I am working on designing some merch as well, so watch out for the merch store. Probably be doing like little booths. I did get my seller's license. I got like my business ID, tax number. I'm working on getting an actual business license and putting together some like physical merch that I can take and go sell places. So that's happening. I feel like there's so much more, and I just like, I can't even. Oh, the other thing I'm working on, once we get to a certain amount of followers and subscribers and people who are interested in really kicking off and building the community and talking and connecting and that kind of thing, I am putting together a Discord. So there will be a Discord channel where we can all talk and we can all share things and get advice from each other, and you guys will get like freebies from me when I come out with like new workbook pages and things like that. You'll get first views, you get behind the scenes, sneak peeks, all kinds of fun like goodies for joining the Discord and being like part of my special little group. So yeah, there's like so much that I have in store for Healer's Honey, and I hope that you stick around and get involved because this is going to be awesome. So I hope that you enjoyed the episode and stick around, and you can use some of these tools to step into your true self, and we could all pollinate with purpose, because it is our job as humans to share our gifts with the collective so we can all grow and be our best selves and have a great community. So let's pollinate this little community with purpose and all of our nice little gifts. And yeah, I'll see you guys next month.
Thank you so much for supporting the Healer's Honey podcast and project. Please like and subscribe or follow to stay up to date with future content. I'm your host, B, and I'll see you next time.